The truth about sexuality in ancient Egypt. As we explore the ancient sexual customs of Egypt, it's impossible to ignore the tantalizing secrets and scandals hidden within the artwork and stories of its past. But behind the intriguing graffiti depicting Hatshepsut's alleged adultery and the assassination of Pharaoh Rameses III lies an even more mysterious and erotic world that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about ancient Egypt. Prevalent sexual orientation of ancient Egyptian society. The level of emotional, romantic, or sexual attraction one feels toward another person is referred to as their sexual orientation. So now, let's have a look at the many sexual orientations that were found in ancient Egypt, starting with heterosexual. People in Egypt who identify as heterosexual feel romantic and physical attraction for people of the opposite sex, even though Egypt is a predominantly heterosexual country. Both heterosexual males and females have a strong desire to be with another heterosexual person. Heterosexual males are drawn to heterosexual females and vice versa. People who identify as heterosexual are commonly referred to as straight, but the terms are not interchangeable. Now about homosexuals. Those who self-identify as homosexual are likely to experience romantic and physical attraction for people who share their sexual orientation with them. Lesbians are women who are drawn to the company of other women, whereas gays are primarily men who are attracted to the company of other men. Lesbians and gays are two distinct subsets of the human sexual population. When referring to people who are homosexual but of a different gender, the term gay is frequently used. The practice of homosexuality was not illegal in ancient Egypt. For example, according to the findings of researcher Mark Brustman, the god Seth is shown as participating in sexual activities with other male deities, such as Horus, while he was married to his sister Nephthys. Bisexual. People who identify as bisexual are attracted romantically and/or physically to people of the opposite sex from themselves. We can find examples of bisexuality in numerous ancient Egyptian stories. Asexual. Even though they may not be interested in engaging in sexual behavior, those who identify as asexual nonetheless have a powerful sense of emotional connection to the people around them. This indicates that asexuality was also present in Egyptian culture. Sexual attraction prevalent in ancient Egypt. Adultery. This practice was considered a serious crime in ancient Egyptian society, and those found guilty of this offense faced severe punishment. If a man was found guilty of committing rape against a married woman, he might have been subjected to emasculation as a punishment. On the other hand, if two people engaged in sexual activity without either party's consent, they might have been subjected to corporal punishment, such as mutilation or even execution. This is in the context of pursuing a relationship with a married woman, so male extramarital affairs with unmarried women did not reflect poorly on his character in the same way that it did with a married woman or on cheating wives. This is because it was in the context of pursuing a relationship with a woman who was married. On the other hand, men were not excused from responsibility for their actions. History shows that cheating husbands in some communities were subject to social disgrace as a result of their behavior. For example, Nephthys had an affair with Osiris, which resulted in the birth of Anubis, Osiris's son. Incest. In Egyptian mythology, many gods married their own sisters or brothers, including She and Tifnut, Geb and Nut, Osiris and Isis, and Seth and Nephthys. This pattern was followed by the Egyptian royal family. For example, King Tutankhamun's parents were siblings. This event was the culmination of a familial line of inbreeding that had caused the family to suffer from a large number of deformities, illnesses, and hereditary ailments. On the other hand, there is less evidence to suggest that people in common society typically married members of their own families. Even though it was odd, having sexual relations before marriage with one's sibling was not frowned upon. Zoophilia. It appears that the ancient Egyptians frequently tortured animals for sex, including cows, dogs, and even crocodiles. Amazingly, people still engage in this behavior, despite the fact that it was prohibited and would result in severe fines. Necrophilia. In Egyptian mythology, Seth was responsible for Osiris's murder and dismemberment, and it was up to Isis and Nephthys to retrieve the various body parts. They were able to retrieve all of Osiris's body parts with the exception of his penis. Therefore, Isis fashioned a replacement phallus for him. After her health was restored, Isis had sexual relations with her husband and became pregnant with her son Horus. This contributed to the formation of the belief that a person's sexual power continued after death, and that this power, if left unused, could cause mayhem. Herodotus described a practice in which certain corpses would not be delivered to the embalmers for a period of several days. This was done to prevent the embalmers from having sexual relations with the dead. Marriage and divorce in Egyptian culture. In ancient Egypt, the average age for a man to get married was around 20 years old, while the bride was typically much younger, ranging from 12 to 13 years old. It's believed that men met their potential wives in various settings such as the fields, market, or even on the streets. Love was valued, and Egyptian poetry provides evidence of this, with many poems dedicated to romantic themes. After a few dates, the man would propose, and if the girl accepted, they would start a life together. Although they may not have been deeply in love, they were not forced into marriage. The regulations governing divorce in ancient Egypt. Divorce was frequent in ancient Egypt, but it was not favored. In the event of a divorce, the wife was entitled to 1/3 of the marital estate. However, some men disregarded the laws and agreements, simply throwing their wives out of the house. Despite this, the purpose of marriage in ancient Egypt remained the same: procreation. Ideal family size in ancient Egypt. Bringing a new life into the world. In ancient Egypt, the average family size was 6 to 7 children, but having 10 or more was not unusual. The ideal scenario was for the wife to become pregnant soon after the couple was married. While having children was highly valued, there is no evidence that having a son over a daughter was preferred. Dealing with infertility in ancient Egypt. Egypt's answer to unwanted pregnancies. If the wife did not become pregnant after some time, there were several options available. One solution was purchasing a magic spell, as magic was believed to cure all kinds of issues, including infertility. The wife could also pray at the Hathor shrine, dedicated to the cow-headed fertility goddess. Typically, offerings of penises, breasts, and other female reproductive organs were made to the goddess. If the goddess was unable to intervene, the couple might choose to adopt children. Infant mortality and birth control in ancient Egypt. Sadly, some children did not survive birth or passed away within a few months of being born. The high rate of infant death was due to infections, as well as snakes and scorpions in the region. If the couple determined they did not want more children, they explored various methods of birth control. The most commonly used method involved the wife applying crocodile dung to her vaginal area. Egyptian women were recognized as having the right to contraception. So there you have it, folks, a glimpse into the fascinating world of sexuality in ancient Egypt. From the role of marriage and procreation to the options for dealing with unwanted pregnancies and the use of contraception, it's amazing to see how much has changed and how much has remained the same throughout the ages. We hope you've enjoyed this journey with us and have learned something new about this fascinating time period. Before you go, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing and informative content. And if you have any suggestions for future topics, feel free to drop them in the comments below. We're always looking for new and exciting stories to share with you. So until next time, keep exploring the wonders of history.